Hello, everybody. It's Ryan from Pi Records, and I'm here with the two members of Triple Agent Records and Secret Agent Surf Garage Band. How are you guys doing?
Hello, my name is Raquel. I'm the bass player. I'm
And
doing great.
and I'm Rick DeLeese. I'm the guitar player for Secret Agent. And thank you so much, Ryan, for having us today on this interview.
Thanks so much for doing it. I was listening to your music today. I really love the sound. It's not just surf. There's some elements of garage and maybe even a little punk rock with the synth. Would you agree?
Yeah. Well, we're definitely a fusion of sounds. Um, we call it. We had to make up our own genre, which we call it sci-spy instro surf, which is sci of psychedelic, spy because we're influenced a lot by the film soundtracks from spy movies, and instro because we're mostly instrumental, being a three-piece, and surf because I guess the basis of the band comes from the neo surf scene, stuff we played in the past.
Very cool. I really dig the spy aspect of it. Um, the James Bond movies and the old '60s shows. Um, I think the music really stands the test of time. Do you agree?
I do, yes. Definitely we're influenced by the James Bond movies and also some of the spaghetti western soundtracks from Ennio Morricone, the whole Sergio Leone movies from the 60s. So we have a little bit of that, maybe as you mentioned before, a little bit of punk because I grew up in punk rock. But we're trying to mix up, I guess, all the influences of the band members and try to make something a little bit more unique or a little bit different.
Yeah, it definitely does stand out. I would say. Raquel, who would you say your influences are?
Mm, well, I have lots of influences that comes from hard rock. When I was teenager, I used to hear a lot of, you know, Aerosmith, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC. But then after I started hearing more like indie music, electro music, and now when I met Rick, I started listening more surf music. And I have ever loved the spy movies. Since I was little, I watched all the James Bond movies and always loved like that kind of mystery. So using that on the music, it's been like a big like influence. No sé cómo decirlo. Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Sorry for my English.
I know it's okay. Your English is better than my Spanish, so that's okay. Uh, so um, for the next part, I want to talk about some of the people you collaborate because you're a three piece, but you have a lot of vocal songs with vocals, keyboards. I want to talk about some of the individuals you work with.
Okay, well, Secret Agent is a three-piece that we're instrumental, so it's drums, bass, and guitar. But we decided we want to work with different vocalists from different bands, so we have some vocal songs too, and also to be able to reach some of their audience that normally wouldn't probably listen to surf music. So, for example, on our second EP, Matahari, which would be this one. This one we have collaborations with Marcela Viejo and Carlos An. Marcela Viejo is from a band she used to be in a band called Quiero Club from Mexico, which are very popular. And she went solo. And both Rack and I have played guitar for her band, um, and became friends. And and decided to collaborate a song. So she's on our song Danzarina del Placer, also with Carlos San. Carlos San's a poet and a singer-songwriter from Barcelona, Spain. Long career, over 10 solo records. He used to be in a band called Bushido with Enrique Bumburi, which is a famous Latin rock singer. And that's one of our songs, Danzarina del Placer. And then we have another song called Matahari, like the record, that's the title of the record. And this one with Vince. Vince is the singer for the Rebel Cats, which is probably Mexico's premier rockabilly band. So that has a touch of a little bit of garage and maybe psychobilly or rockabilly on that song. And we have some new collaborations that we're going to be working with for the next EP, but that's a surprise. But those are the vocalists we've been working with in collaborations, but we're mostly instrumental. And we also have a synth player from Los Angeles that he records all our keyboards. His name is Juan Covarrubias. He's Chilean and incredible synth player. He's very into the modular synths and all the analog synths from the 70s and 80s and especially your 60s Hammonds and Rhodes and those type of things. So he keeps it real and really we really enjoy that psychedelic sound he contributes to the band.
Very cool. Very cool. I noticed like a little bit of punk rock in there, and you said you have a little background in punk rock.
Yeah, back in the late 80s, I was in probably one of the first hardcore punk bands in Puerto Rico where I grew up. It was called Corrupted Society, and we used to do some originals, which were never released, but kind of grew up on the Ramones and Dead Kennedys and Black Flag and Fear and these bands, mostly from the West Coast, United States West Coast. That's kind of got me into playing guitar, also metal and hard rock back then. And then it was new wave, and it went through a lot of. I went through a lot of music.
But yeah, all of us, Alice, Rick, and me, always listen and play to rock music somehow. So that's why in Secret Agent, even though it's a different genre, but we have this heavy rock influence because it's like in our veins.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys have a lot of musical similarities as meaning your tastes in music.
Oh yeah. We can go all the way from like Pink Floyd to probably heavy bands like Slipknot. Not in our music, so I would say, but more of the music we listen to. It's really a wide variety of music. I also listen to a lot of surf from the old Benchers and Shantais and those type of bands to the modern bands like Master Chops and Tremolo Beer God and a lot of great bands that are coming out nowadays and have been around for the last 20 years too. So definitely a wide variety of music genres.
So you guys are in Mexico City. How big is surf there? I mean, I hear so many people talking about the Mexican surf scene. It just seems to be very rich down there.
I would definitely agree with that. Actually, Danny Amos from the Straight Jackets, I read in a recent interview that he believes that Mexico is one of the biggest surf scenes in the world. I know for a fact that the surf bands from Mexico started around the 90s, like Los Acapulco and Los Exquisitos, part of the third, I guess you call it the third wave of surf. And from there's been a lot of great bands that have been coming out of Mexico and have toured all around Mexico and Europe and been to the States and it's starting to expand. They also have a big festival here called Wildo Fest, which is thousands of people on that festival. They've been doing that for maybe 4 years now, I believe. So that has had given a lot of exposure of surf bands and garage bands from international bands like Man or Astro Man or the Sonics or uh, Fuzz Tones have performed in this festival. So definitely a huge market here. Still underground, I would have to say. Still cult. It's not mainstream, but we kind of like it that way.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so I want to talk a little bit about Triple Agent Records. Tell me the story about how you started that and why.
Very new label. We just started this year. Um, we wanted to have our own label so we can release our own music. A secret agent. We've been on labels before, and we do work with other labels like Double Crown Records or OTT's Media Records to release some CDs and vinyl. But in terms of us having our own label to release our digital releases, that's where the idea came from. We also want to support other bands in terms of promotion in a free sense, not selling these bands, but putting together compilation records on Bandcamp so we can uh, promote bands, friends of ours, and music we like. We got the idea from Kafadan Contact Records from Turkey. They've been doing great promoting other bands and also their own music. And we really want to be part of this scene to help out other bands. So we're gonna be releasing a compilation CD, also physical CD in the summer to promote ourselves and other bands of different genres like rockabilly, punk, indie rock, surf, garage, things we like. So it's called Triple Agent Records, and you'll probably be seeing us more in the summer with our first release.
Um, that is so cool. I totally identify with what you're doing because it's all about promoting and getting the word out. And it's really admirable. And I didn't make the connection between the band and the label until you mentioned it. Um, but I think what you're doing is going to bring everybody to a higher level. Just connecting everybody in the music scene to what you guys are doing and the other surf bands are doing. Is that your goal?
Definitely, definitely, yes. And we also want to take some of the surf music in other markets. For example, I grew up in Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico has a healthy rock scene. Um, there's a surf band over there called Los Bronson, which been supporting the scene. And we want to also, since we go there a lot, we've toured there as Secret Agent probably around 7 times now. We want to take some of these bands to listeners over there, especially also in Mexico. Keep growing the scene and try and expand as much as we can and help out indie music, not necessarily commercial or mainstream music, but more of the stuff we like and support.
Very cool. I'm interested in the label. Uh, my wife Jenny and I work together on our label, and we have kind of specific duties. How do you and Raquel kind of split the duties and collaborate?
Well, Rack has a great ear for music, and we've been listening to different bands and picking out what we want to release. Um, I would say also more like a lot of the art concepts. We try to make it a democracy in the label. We haven't released our first release yet, other than Secret Agent Music, but we've been working with Illustrated that she found online. They call him Bardavas, as in beard, and he makes some great art, which he just designed our logo. and we'll be designing the cover of the first compilation record. And I basically it's a lot of inspiration from that Turkish label I talked about, Kafadan Contact Records, which is also a married couple that have a band called Reptilians from Andromeda, and put together this label. And I've been reading about High Tide Recordings, which is also a married couple, and we're a married couple. And I think being together in your life also really injects a lot of passion in the projects that we work together. So that's, would you say that's kind of what we're striving for?
Very cool. I'm interested in some of the other bands that you played with and how you got to this point. You guys want to talk about the other bands that you played in?
Yes. Well, if I go back a little bit back, I used to play guitar for Elvis, and
I know him.
and also Elvis, yeah, Mexican Elvis, Robert Lopez from the Zeros. I did a tour with him as his guitar player, and that's kind of where I got to meet a lot of bands that we toured with, like Man or Astro Man or Southern Culture on the Skids. And then I was playing with a band called the Migs, which is the leader of the band, plays in Par Avion, and he also plays in Fuzz Tones and different bands. And that's kind of where I got into the surf and I guess rockabilly type music. But that was back when I was living in LA. But when I moved to Mexico, I played with different bands, all kinds of genre. Same as Rack, plays in different bands, and our drummer Alice. Also, we got together about 5 years as musicians for as a backing band for different pop artists, Latin pop artists, which we had the opportunity to tour for the last 5 years to South America, Central America, the United States, and all around Mexico. And we really gelled as a band. About that same time, we started Secret Agent because we had that chemistry performing live, and then we started composing, and we did a couple of EPs. And I think that being in those bands or different bands has given us experience. Other than the chemistry of a band, it's also the camaraderie when you're touring, which is important. That type of the personalities. You really well, we got married, so I guess that came from touring together, but. And knowing that in a way that we met, like right, and something like that.
Yeah.
Very cool. So as far as playing exactly, who would be your biggest influences on your instruments? Raquel, we'll start with you.
Mis
Bajo,
influencias
en bajo.
en bajo.
O en general, música clásica.
Well, on bass, my influences would be from, I don't know, maybe started with Red Hot Chili Peppers with Flea, which I admire a lot. He's a great bass player. But I also always love Billy Sheehan, who's
Oh yeah.
very virtuous. ¿Cómo se dice virtuoso?
Virtuous.
Virtuous. But also Victor Wooten. He's like magic on the bass. And I always liked disco music, Motown music, funk music. But also, I don't know, I have played covers from Rush, from Primus. I try to be prolific on the bass, like not one style, but I want to learn like as many as I can from bass players. I like listening to very difficult music, which I cannot play, but I try to go there.
That's
Like Larry
Yeah,
Graham and
yeah.
Les Claypool and she listens to a lot of classical. She plays incredible classical piano, and she grew up listening to like Mozart and Bach
Yeah.
and Beethoven and and
It's very mixed. Yeah.
and she plays guitar too. So you know,
Yeah.
got a lot of influences there also.
Yeah.
I know our drummer. I'm sorry.
Oh, I just wanted to talk about the fact that you guys both play guitar. Do you take kind of take turns writing different parts?
No, because in the projects I play guitar, it's not with Rick. When I play with Rick, it's usually bass. But well, sometimes we have played both guitar, like in this ¿cómo se dice?
Some of the TV promos will go like they want like an acoustic set, which is being an instrumental band is it gets a little bit more difficult. But she'll play acoustic guitar, and I'll be playing acoustic guitar, and our drummer would play either Peruvian percussion, the box I
Yeah.
think they call it, or maybe like a small drum pads type thing.
But usually I'm more into bass right now, so I prefer playing bass. He's great with the guitar, and that's how we divide it.
Yeah. Okay. Uh,
And she'll write her bass parts, and I'll write my guitar parts,
yeah.
and we'll work together on songs.
Sometimes it's cool that we can share our instruments or guitars. Like I can share him
Oh
my
yeah.
guitar. Yeah, and he shares me also his stuff.
Okay.
That's great.
I guess it's good to know both because you guys can kind of see where you're coming each other is coming from.
Definitely, yes. We love a lot of the same guitar players too, like David Gilmour, or in my case, I love Tony Iommi, uh, and then people like Noki Edwards from the Benchers, and Johnny Ramone, Robert Smith from The Cure. I mean, it's really Andy Summers from The Police. Those are the guitar players I kind of grew up with listening to, and I don't know if you can hear that type of stuff on our songs in Secret Agent.
Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix, of course. It's a wide variety of influences, but we try. Maybe it comes in naturally. Some of those influences in the music. I would think, for example, "The Spy Who Never Was," a track off our second EP, Matahari. When I listen to it, I think Ramones and Black Sabbath, but it doesn't really sound like those bands. But um, and Pink Floyd would probably be more in the synths, and we like the music to take you to other places in your mind, which a lot of stoner rock would probably do. So I guess there's a lot of mesh of influences there.
So, something that you said struck me when you said TV promos or radio promos. Where you work in that field as well. You do music for media.
No, I used to work back in LA with different, other than DIY as doing everything for your band. Since I grew up in the punk rock scene, well, we kind of got used to that. But I did stints in some, and
Se está
um,
cortando.
yeah, I just
Esperen.
throughout the years, by doing it yourself, I learned how to do a lot of industry work instead of relying on a label, a radio show or a TV show to promote our music. Like, for example, this record that we just released with Double Crown Records, which is both our EPs on one CD,
Okay.
and then we can take this record and promote it, but also take our Triple Agent Records CD
Yeah,
at the
but
same time, right?
yeah, I also want to say that what he was saying about the TV promos is that sometimes we got invited as bands, a secret agent, to TV shows or to do a
Oh, okay.
promo, but they don't want us like the whole ¿cómo se dice?
Full band
The full band. They don't have like
or
the
instrumentation.
yeah. We have to do it like a smaller, easy. That's when we change, like sometimes I can play acoustic guitar and the bass play and the because the drum player would play more like percussions, and that's what
Yeah, some of the TV
they do
promos, they don't
on
want the
TV.
drums, they don't want the full sound, so we have to break it down to a little bit different instrumentation. Um, and radio shows sometimes do that. We prefer to play in our sequences.
But on TV, it's more difficult to do like the whole set, so we
Yeah.
have to accommodate.
Accommodate. We have to
Yeah.
accommodate for what
Yeah.
these different media outlets need.
That's good. I understand what you're talking about now. um, but that will lead me into my next question. Um, how much rewriting or rearranging does it take to do that?
Well, we try to keep it as close as possible. It's more of changing the instrument. For example, maybe I won't play electric guitar and I'll arrange it on acoustic so it makes sense. We are instrumental band, so not having vocals, we have to try to fill out the sound somehow, since we're not going to have our synths, which really gives it the psychedelic sound that we go after for. We go after, but not much arranging. I would say we keep it pretty close to the original song, the tempo wise and the progression of the song.
I know you prefer to play as a full band, but after having that experience, accommodating it as an acoustic act, would you ever consider doing an acoustic record for maybe a little spin on what you do?
We haven't considered as that, but I think it's a good dynamic on the band to explore the song on different ways. Um, it's a way to be forced for creativity.
Definitely.
Maybe we can consider to do not a whole EP, but we can maybe do a song like that.
Like the MTV Unplugged.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we definitely would have a lot of instrumentation on it, though. I would see if we were to do an acoustic album, we would definitely have. We want to bring horns and string instruments. If we're gonna go that way, we might as well go all the way.
That would be awesome. Um, I really enjoyed your music. The first song, and the name escapes me, the Matahari, on that EP, the first song uh blew me away. That was the first song I listened to.
That's
Yeah, yeah, that's the one.
that's well, this is a conceptual EP talking about Matahari, the exotic dancer from Second World War times. That song is called "The Spy Who Never Was," and it's referring to Matahari. That's a song we open up our live set with to really inject a lot of energy on the set. So I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, it was when I heard it, I was like, oh, these guys are right up my alley. I love the uh the nods to punk and garage, and but still having that surf element. It's a great mix. I mean, somebody who's analytical when it comes to music will definitely be able to hear and enjoy all the different influences on that particular song.
Thank you.
So I
We
want
record.
to. Oh,
Uh-huh.
go ahead.
I said we recorded that song in Puerto Rico when we were on tour there. This great studio in San Juan called El Padrino. Um, and it was done live pretty much. We record live, drums, bass, and guitar, and then we'll maybe do some overdubs later on the guitar, and then our keyboard player, guest keyboard player, will record his synths over that, and it's pretty simple the way we record and write. We don't tend to do long days in the studio type thing. We like to prepare it in our own home, all the pre-production, and that song came pretty quick, I'd say.
Quite
That's,
honest.
We had help also with a friend of ours that produces some of the music. His name is Digelio Javier. He's in Puerto Rico, and he helped on some of the arrangements on that song, which gave it more of the breaks. Initially, it was straightforward punk rock, and then he gave it a little bit more space and dynamics on the arrangement
oh,
on the
cool.
spine.
So that's kind of where the garage part came into it.
Actually the other way around. When the song breaks down, halftime, there's just a lot of airiness and atmosphere, and some backwards guitars
Which
and
gives more space for the psychedelic
Yeah.
stuff.
we love that. We love that what he added to the song and his idea, and we like to have outside opinions and
Yeah.
people we trust, and we like to try to take the music as forward as possible. It's always good to have also like
He was like co-producing.
yeah,
with you.
he co-produced that song, and he produced our new song Moros en la Costa, which is out as a single, just came out 2-3 weeks ago, and he fully produced that song, and you can get that song on Bandcamp, on our Bandcamp page. It's not out yet on physical. Actually, it's going to come out on vinyl in the summer with
Oh,
Otitis Media Records from Texas.
Yeah. No,
And
it's
we're
a
working on that record right now. We're going into the studio. We're talking to different producers to go in the studio and record a new EP, which we hope to have out by summer.
yeah, that's great. Noah's a great guy. He's got a lot of great bands, and so being on that label will uh definitely be a great boost for you guys. He's a great guy.
Oh, Noah and Sean Barry from Double Crown have been great. Art from the music recordings recommended us to a few labels, and we got picked up by Double Crown to release this CD, A Pair of Aces, which is both our EPs on one CD. And Moros en la Costa, our latest single, is coming out on that vinyl I mentioned with Otitis Media Records with Noah. And as a label, we are looking to work with different labels, also as an alliances that we want to form. We've been talking to different bands from Europe and from the States, and hopefully when the touring comes together after the pandemic, hopefully we're going to start touring again, hopefully to Europe this time. So yeah, we feel that these relations with different labels and bands are important, not just for them to help us, for us to help them too.
I love the fact that you guys collaborate so much with so many different people. It brings you definitely have a big sound because of it, I think.
Thank you.
And before we head out, I want to ask if there's anything else you'd like to add. I know you said you had a surprise you can't talk about, but is there anything coming up that you'd like to talk about?
Other than the release of the compilation CD that we're putting together for Triple Agent Records, and our new EP, which is going to be titled Moros en la Costa, just like the single. Hopefully, we'll be having that out this year. Other than that, that record will have some new vocal collaborations and instrumentals, and hopefully some more alliances with different labels and bands. Hopefully, starts touring up again. And other than that, maybe a shout out from our drummer Alice. She's in a few projects as well, like After Silence and Ruido Rosa. Those are other two bands. We haven't seen much of her this year because of the pandemic, but we did get together to work on the new single and also do a photo shoot. But hopefully, here in Mexico, things are back and forth. So we're with the pandemic. So we're hoping things will look up.
Yeah,
Look up in the near future.
yeah, I understand. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for being on. I really enjoyed your story, and I enjoy your music very much. And I can't wait to hear the new stuff.
Great, thank you, Ryan. Thanks for having us in Pi Records, and we'll definitely keep in touch.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot, Ryan.
Have a good day, guys.
You too.
You too. Bye.